My sketchbook these last few months has become a bit like a travel journal. Inside, I've been recording some of my adventures. I'm moving to Italy for a year to study art in an academy in Milan, and there is a lot of beauty to try and capture along the way. The journey since leaving Australia with my brother starts here, in Sicily, where we stayed for a couple months with our family. Sicily is a place I associate with my childhood, and coming back has been both beautiful and bizarre because we were able to visit places I haven't seen for so long. I did come back last year for 3 weeks, but that was my first time back in like 6 or 7 years. Between being so far away in Australia and the plague, we didn't manage to come back. And last year, as amazing as it was, I didn't get very long to just take my time and appreciate what was around me like I can this year. So it really has been special to come back and stay for a while, finding all my old places and secret passageways, reliving old adventures and having new ones too. So let's start with the food, shall we? Sicily, and just Italy in general, is of course known for its amazing food. Desserts and colourful pastries are a staple here, and something I remember quite well from my childhood summers here. And speaking of new experiences too, I'm back now as an adult, which means I can taste all the desserts I couldn't before, the ones with alcohol in them. The artistry and decoration on these desserts just begged to be drawn, and I explored with coloured pencils, and I really had so much fun.
Nonno, come si chiamano queste? Questi dolci, quelle verdi?
Cassatine.
Cassatine? Come si scrive?
C-A-2-S-A.
I ended up filling the entire page with these dolci siciliani.
Grazie.
This proved to be great experimentation because I have not stopped using coloured pencils since. I can't believe I never realised how great coloured pencils are to work with. You can actually get some really lovely line work and richness in your drawings by mixing colours and incorporating drawing techniques. It's a great way to practice applying colour and colour theory without actually having to whip all your paints out, which really takes too much time and effort. This has made it very convenient and easy for me to try and capture moments and places quickly and spontaneously in my sketchbook as I went forth on my adventures. Favignana was a very special place to go back to. The last time I was here, I was about 12. Again, it's a place I strongly associate with my childhood. My family have a house there that we would go to almost every summer, which is right next to one of the most beautiful beaches in my opinion, though that's a bit biased. It was very strange to be back. Things looked a bit different back then. Not because things actually changed, in fact, it's also kind of exactly how I remembered, except maybe a bit smaller. But obviously I've grown and am somewhat different, and I see and observe things differently. But I felt like I was home, and throughout my time in Sicily I felt more and more whole and full of food and full of experiences and joy at reconnecting with people and places.
Yes, Kian. Slay Queen, that's what we want to see.
And reconnecting with aspects of my childhood, all things that I've felt a bit disconnected from previously while being so far away in Australia. It's been really special to go to Australia and live a different reality and live new and exciting experiences. And I'm grateful that I get to come back home and re-find all these nostalgic, special things I left behind. I think I'll always remember this little adventure with family and friends. We climbed all the way to the top of a mountain and slept under the stars without a tent. It really was quite magical, and I tried to take this opportunity while surrounded by so much beauty to take some photographs and edit them when we came back down as I reflected on our short trip. I'm very curious to try some different skills and hobbies. I think it's very good to stay curious and to always try new and difficult things. I do want to challenge myself this year, and we'll see what new things I try while I'm here in Italy. With all the exploring and adventures my brother and I have been on, it's definitely great to find some time to make some money. I'm really lucky to be able to keep working remotely on some illustration projects, so I tried to fit in some watercolour painting here and there. Today I'm working on an illustration of a Brahmini kite with watercolour and gouache on watercolour paper. I usually have around 3 to 4 hours to work on one illustration, so it's a bit of a balancing game to try to make the illustration finalised without having to go into all the difficult details with not that much time on my hands. I try to suggest detail where it's important. The human eye usually fills in the rest if you do it well, and I'd like to keep some stylistic, painterly qualities in the painting to give it some life and intrigue. There are always old castles and ruins to discover here, so much rich history and culture to learn. We're very lucky to have some family and friends explain some history to us while we explored sites, and of course audio guides are always fascinating. I love visiting churches. The atmosphere is always so calm and inspiring. Some paintings and sculptures are particularly absorbing, and I find myself transfixed by the decoration, the detail, and the tradition and storytelling behind the piece of art. It's truly strange and mind-boggling to think that we can see, touch, and stand on the stones and ruins a society built up thousands of years ago. This is a castle in Favignana that we hiked up to visit, me and my brother. It was very beautiful, and we talked to some strangers and made some new friends, and the drone footage in this video is actually theirs. They were kind enough to share it with me. Erice is another place I particularly loved, and I visited it several times. It has a very medieval vibe, and it has such rich history going further back than the medieval era. There's so many charming elements here. The narrow streets, the cobblestone pavements, the old stone houses and churches, and the gardens and the views of buildings shrouded in greenery. This tower I found very beautiful. It's more recent, built nearing the end of the 1800s by Count Agostino Sieri Pepoli. It reminds me of a chess piece. The tower was a gathering place for art, music and culture, and a place where Pepoli would welcome literary friends to study for his archaeological research. I can imagine someone in the 19th century lounging in the castle, meeting friends, and just appreciating the landscape. So that's it for now. Thank you so much for coming along with me. It really means a lot, and I'll see you in the next one.